I feel like we started a news broadcast.
You must bring up the fact that you had to get libations as the excuse. Okay, one second, you're not live quiet.
Oh man, this is cool.
You are now live.
What's up, everyone? I'm Will Jones. This is Wind Down Wednesday, NABJ Chicago. This is our second episode. We haven't been canceled yet, so that's a good thing. I don't know how we're doing in the ratings. I want to introduce my co-host, Lee Edwards, Aisha Jefferson. How you all doing?
I'm good.
I'm great. I'm having a great day, and I'm so glad we're joined by Mr. Dometi Pongo.
What's up?
What up? What up?
MTV correspondent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wait, don't tell the gig. We drinking now. I don't want y'all to talk on my job. We have Wine Down Wednesday, Will.
So I'm doing kombucha right now. I had wine for the last one, and I woke up with a little headache. So I'm just gonna stick with kombucha.
That's what water is for, Will. Water. I go back and forth.
Balance.
Before we get to what you're doing awesome things. I want to get some housekeeping things out of the way. We want to tell everyone about our scholarships. We're giving out more than $10,000 in scholarships in NABJ Chicago. That's the most ever. So we're hoping that people will apply. You can apply right now. You have until April 30th. That is the deadline. And this is for college students interested in pursuing careers in journalism. I'm in charge of the scholarship committee, so I am going to be reading your application. I want to make sure you get the money that you need for college and fill out an essay, send us your transcripts. You're pretty much guaranteed almost to get some scholarship money. So please apply. Aisha and Lee, I know you all probably wish you all would have gotten a little more scholarship money when you
I got a lot of scholarships. The scholarship money I got in undergrad really helped out. And so students, please apply. This is money out there. You still have time to write your essay, get your recommendations, all the requirements that Will is speaking about. Go ahead and do it. I mean, we're in a panorama right now. So, there's nothing else to do but to, apply for, our scholarship and tell your friends about it too.
And then another thing that I want to talk about is the elections. The elections are coming up. We want people to run for positions for NABJ Chicago board. I've been on the board for, I think, 4 years now. It's been one of the best experiences of my life, especially heading the scholarship committee, helping young people get money for scholarships, planning programming to help our membership. So, Aisha, what do we need to know about the election?
Okay, so our elections they're coming up in May, and voter registration opened earlier this month on February the 8th, and voter registration goes until April the 16th. So you have to be a full NABJ Chicago member in order to vote. So that means you have to have, your membership has to be current, meaning your dues have to be paid up. So you have to have your dues paid up in order to vote. If you want to nominate someone to run, you have until March 15th to submit that nomination. The candidate must be a current NABJ Chicago member and a member of the NABJ National Chapter. So that means dues for both have to be paid up in order to be a nominee and be on the ballot. Electronic voting begins May 1st and it ends May 20th. And you can find out more at nabjchicago.org/election. So
this is your first time on the board, right? This is your first time on the board?
Oh, yes. This is my first time on the board. And,
I love working with you.
I love you. Honestly, I enjoy working with the board and, the social media committee. This is Will, Lee, and Monique, who you don't see.
But she's behind the scenes working this show.
Behind the scenes, she's our producer. We all have a great relationship. And this Wind Down Wednesdays, this podcast was born out of our love for NABJ Chicago, and our desire to help others explore and help them out with their pursuits with journalism. So, yes.
And Lee, this is your first time on the board as well, right?
Yes, it is. I'm fortunate enough to be the vice president of digital, though I couldn't do any of the things that's happening without this fabulous team. You all do a lot of the work. We're trying to make sure that it's a collaborative process. So we want to make sure that we're highlighting everyone as best we can.
Right.
All right. And then Lee, you wanted to talk about FOIA Fest.
Yes, indeed.
A lot of people were interested in that.
So thank you so much for that. We were fortunate enough to have several tickets donated by the Chicago Headline Club. They are the sponsors, and they're the ones who put on this year's 2021 FOIA Fest. I also want to shout out, of course, Nadia Issa and also Kelly Garcia, because they're the liaisons that worked with me. So we can donate, I believe, 8 to 10 tickets to several NABJ Chicago members to attend FOIA Fest. Now,
So
FOIA Fest,
go ahead. That's what I think you were about to answer my question. What is FOIA Fest for people joining us?
So FOIA Fest happened over the weekend, and this year it was a 3-day virtual fest featuring panels and workshops dedicated to helping journalists and those interested in government issues learn more about public records and holding those in power accountable through different things called FOIAs, or in lay terms, Freedom of Information Act. And that allows us to basically receive information about any number of government agencies from local to federal.
All right, good. We got the housekeeping out of the way. So the election, scholarship money on the line. So now I want to know, how was your week? How's your week going so far?
Well, I'll start first. I was fortunate enough to secure the ever elusive Ivy Park drop. So the story about
This
that,
for women, right? They don't make men's clothing, right? Beyonce, sorry.
Well, it's all gender neutral clothing. So you have clothing designed for women and also gender neutral. So they have different models who wear that fashion as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
I enjoyed all the promos and the one that B did with Blue Ivy. She had a lot of different promos. They were pretty cool.
Definitely. The actual ability to get the items was difficult because the actual Adidas website was always fluctuating. You could never actually know if it's going to go through or not. They gave the website crashed several times, but I was able to get 2 hats and 2 special items for a particular special somebody. So it kind of worked out for me, but I can't speak for everybody. You know, you had to get in where you fit in.
I heard the last drop was kind of, a lot of people were scrambling to get stuff, and some of the Hive, they missed out.
Let's bring Dometi in if he's not taking a sip, get him back on camera here. Are you interested in Ivy Park? Ivy Parker? Ivy Parker, what is it?
I saw Ivy Park. Oh. I saw a meme that like summed up exactly how I feel. They were talking about all these people doing unboxings, and they were like, "What does a Beyonce see in them that she don't see in me? Like, send me some free Ivy Park." Like, I don't know if you've seen this, even with the first season, she'll send them like these small wardrobe boxes.
Yes.
And like the unboxings, like Missy Elliott did a fly unboxing of hers. Like a short video where it's like a music video, and she had the blue icy park from this season and the Ivy Park from last season. I was just hating, man. I wish I could have got some.
Putting it out there. Maybe next time, the next line that dropped that you'll get it. And also, I wanted to talk to you about the Coming to America movie that's coming out in a couple of weeks. But Aisha, you were telling me you already saw the movie?
No. I saw another movie. I saw that.
How did you get that confused? I said Coming to America.
I mean, now, yes, I guess you would assume that Eddie would think of me and send me the movie ahead of time. But I know that you would think that. However, with Rona acting a fool, I think he got a little confused. So no, I did not get an advanced copy like I may typically get. But no, I did not see it yet. But I've been watching all of I have been watching. I think there have been like 2 trailers, and they're a shorter one and an extended one. So I'm kind of waiting. Breath is a little bated. I'm very curious to see how this will play out. And I rewatched Coming to America again for like the millionth time. It's on Prime, I think. So I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago.
Do you think they're gonna get this right?
Maybe, because from what I see, and again, this is the trailer, so there are no spoilers. It seems like there's really there's some layers to this. There's a real storyline, like the daughters are upset that maybe the son, that he wants a male heir. There's this mystery child that's out there that comes around, which sounded a little hokey at first, but it may work out because he did go on a lot of dates when he was here. So who knows what happened? He went on a lot of dates. So, that could happen. I'm just excited to see everyone back. And I think it seems solid because sometimes these reboots and all of that can be a bust. But this seems like it may have some legs.
I'm really excited to see all the women of darker hues in this movie as well, because in the first one, Lisa was more peanut buttery, we'll say. And we want to make sure that we're highlighting all the shades because there's beauty to be seen, Yeah,
I know, but did you hear that Vanessa Bell, I think that's her name, Calloway, said that she originally wanted to be the role of Lisa, but she was turned down and she believed it was because of her complexion, that they didn't want a darker skinned woman to be the lead. So that's sad.
Didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, she said that. Was it with either Madame Noir or Essence? Pardon me for not remembering, but she did say that in a recent interview, that she felt that colorism may have played a role in that. Now, I think she is Imani. Imani Izuzi, I think that's her name. That's an iconic role. It's short role, but it's iconic, and she looks beautiful, and people want to be her for Halloween. I think Blue Ivy. We were just talking about the Carters. Blue Ivy was her for Halloween when Eddie was the king, and I think Beyonce she was the queen, and Blue Ivy was Imani. So the role is iconic, and she looked gorgeous. She's still beautiful, but she looks so gorgeous in that role. So doesn't excuse potential colorism, but she did look good as Imani.
Coming to America was my favorite movie. It's my favorite movie of all time. I remember watching it as a kid, and I was like, I'm going to find a woman from Queens. So I married a woman from Queens last August. She actually grew up in the neighborhood where the McDowells lived. So that's my little coming to America story.
No, mine is much more embarrassing than that one. I went viral on a BuzzFeed video about videos that millennials should have seen but didn't. And I hadn't seen Coming to America because at the time it was just, growing up African, it just became like a spoof to make you the butt of all jokes. So I never liked the movie. So when I was watching it, I had this commentary that was highly critical about the complexions, about the inaccurate accents and all of this stuff. And people were dragging me. They're like, yo, it's a comedy, it's a classic. Like, how do you have all of these critiques? But what you guys saying with Vanessa Bell Calloway, so I'm like, okay, I'm vindicated, so take that, internet.
and I think, and again, Eddie, we didn't talk about this, but no, I think also like you just mentioned, Dometi, it's a spoof, and I think that's why some things seemed a little more exaggerated because it's, with us in America, a lot of us here, not having, being able to easily trace our ancestry in Africa. Some of us romanticize what it's like to be African, or just that whole, all of that. And so I think that movie kind of played on that as well, with the.
It did, and it was positive. He was a king, it was a beautiful thing.
It was Wakanda before Wakanda. I mean, Zamunda was the original. I think I would still choose Zamunda. I don't know, but that's just me.
I like the technology in Wakanda though. That technology kind of got me.
I was about to say, can you get a royal bath in Wakanda though?
I won't. I'm gonna leave that alone.
That's kind of like a topic for another segment, Will. I don't know what kind of show I'm on. What we doing?
It's kombucha.
We're gonna talk for that.
So Dometi, I want to talk about what you're working on. So you're MTV correspondent. I've been living in Chicago for about 5 years now, and everyone knows your name. It's like if they haven't met you personally, they have heard of you, they know of your work. Just tell me a little bit about what you're working on now and a little bit about your backstory. How did you get to MTV?
Man, I know your name. So you saying that just made me feel real good, man. Yeah. But no, I got to MTV in 2018, at the top of 2018, around first quarter. I think it was like February. They were scouting for the role of host for True Life Crime, for the first story being about Kanika Jenkins. And in that time, similar to what you just said, Will, as they were scouting and the casting directors were talking to different people in the city, my name kept coming up as somebody who they thought could give this, could humanize the story. And so I ended up shooting that episode, and it was originally slated to have a different host in every locale, but you know how we do in Chicago, man. Y'all don't need no other host, So, I just ended up becoming the host for the season, and somewhere along the way, ended up getting an opportunity to work at MTV News as a correspondent full time. Relocated to Brooklyn, but I try to get back home as much as I can pre-COVID. But yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in MTV.
How's it so far? And what are you working on? Any stories that we should be looking out for?
Oh man, we just dropped this new series called The Method. Well, I like the role at MTV. It's interesting because I get to go everywhere from doing the investigative journalism, hard news space, to the red carpet entertainment space, which I love and hate. But this series that I just did, it's hard. I don't know how Brandon Pope does it. I saw he put a comment earlier. I don't know how he does it.
What's up, Brandon?
I don't like red carpet either.
It's rough. But
I've never been on a red carpet, so I wouldn't know.
It's just like it's fast paced.
Yeah.
It has a lot of pomp and circumstance with it, and it's like, and Aisha, I know y'all can vibe with this too. We've talked to mayors and governors, and I've covered Obama. I'm like, it was easier to get to Obama than it was to get to Kevin Hart. Like, it was like, come on. Like,
now, I did get to him a little easily. Only because when I was with Comcast, we partnered with ABFF, and so one of those Best Man movies, happened. So it was a little easier to get to him. But to your point, the whole being there, trying to, you're just grabbing and waiting to get to people, that can be a little weird. And I'm sitting there,
elbow space on the carpet.
Yeah, you only got this much space, literally this much space. Your little number, you're here, and you're just grabbing them and kind of sweating them. And we're from Chicago. We're too cool to be sweating other people. So I'm like, I'm like, what is this? Now, I give people, I don't stand anyone, but I will give you your props. Now, you do good work, I give it to you. But all of that clamoring, sweating, after a while, I'm like, Aisha, what is this? Is this what life is?
Is it? Yeah.
But I still interview, and I'm happy, but this is going on in my head.
So, but to that point, so I really wanted to do a show that allowed me to have in-depth conversations that weren't like these 5-minute quick hits. And what came out was The Method. These were like 90-minute conversations that have been pared down to 15 minutes, where I dig deep into the method behind the success behind some of these creative artists and these artist team members. So we talked to Patience Foster, who was a publicist and creative director for the WAP video. How she met Cardi. She started as a hairstylist and became Cardi's publicist, which is a crazy story. Taylor Parks, who writes for Ariana Grande, and then Phoebe Bridgers, who just performed on SNL a few weeks ago, who was like an alt indie rock artist who is among the first women who have been nominated for Best Indie Rock album. Like, for the first time ever at the Grammys, the indie rock category and the alt rock, all of these categories are all from women or women-led bands, the whole nominee list. And so she's one of those, history-making women. So we had like a really dope conversation, but it's on my website, just dometi.net, along with some other shows I did. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Now, I watched your interview with Miss Foster just a few minutes ago, and you were great. I saw you had the fashion on, you were putting all together. So what's it like for you to be in that space and be talking to young, Black, fantastic people, fabulous even? Man,
it's like, how often we have to code switch and whatnot. It's a dream come true because I got to be myself in a space, and it's so much easier when you're talking to somebody that seems like she comes from the same aesthetic, the same space. So it just sheds some of the veneer that we have to put on to do the TV thing. And more I've learned a lot more about myself in that, so many ways we change and contort ourselves to fit into whatever we think that the viewers want to see or our news directors want to see and all of that. And I shed a lot of that over the past few years. So in short, to answer your question, man, it's super dope, and it feels very good to be comfortable in being just 100% myself, which takes a long time. And, every now and then we modulate, but for the most part, I get to be all of those versions of myself. I'm equal parts the book nerd, equal parts the hip hop nerd, hence the all these artists up here. So yeah, it feels good, man.
Yeah. And I love that you like didn't change your name to Darren or something, or a Dan for people to pronounce. Dometi is your name, you sticking with, and I love that.
Thank you, G. Thank you, man. That was a hard decision too. Well, not a hard one, but it was a decision, which was weird. I was like, damn, because I came in green. I didn't go to the J school, so I was like, oh, and I started reading, and I'm like, damn, Larry King isn't really Larry King. Like, all of these people, they had these different names, and I'm like, man, if what will the people before us have done if by the time I get into the space we can't be authentic in our identity? Then like that means that everybody who's been doing this before us, their work is for naught. So we gotta at some point create the real Wakanda. At some point we gotta be able to be our black ass selves.
Will Jones is not my real name. This is not my real name. It's my TV name. No, I'm just joking.
I was about to say, I was like, funny,
so,
man.
What advice would you give to someone? When a lot of kids go to school, you think you have to follow this path to get where you're at. How would you explain to a young person who they have big dreams, but they just don't know where to go, and they don't want to necessarily go after the traditional path that, your professors might say?
Yo, the first thing I would say is surround yourself with the people who inspire you, influence you. And if you don't know those people in person, connect with them virtually. I have so many mentors in my head. Making Oprah was one of the first podcasts I listened to over WBEZ, who dropped that.
I heard that. That was good.
It was so good, man. It was so good. The Producer by Wendy Walker, Larry King's producer, is one of the first books I'd read. So like before I knew people, I had the Perry Smalls at WVON, Kathy Chaney, who's all our friends at NABJ.
Former NABJ Chicago president.
You feel me? So I mean, you end up first immerse yourself in the world, connect with NABJ. And I'm not just saying this because I'm on the live. I tell people this all the time. Even if I was sharing this, I was like, yo, if you've ever asked to pick my brain or to do a lunch with me, you're much better served by getting the voice, talk to Will, Lee, Aisha, like just jump on and immerse yourself. So that's the first thing. Get used to the culture of this, like get to know people, because you just start to pick up different tidbits, especially if you didn't go to school for it. And then the second thing is say yes to everything. As opportunities come and it makes sense, you're just starting out, you might not know. You might start off in radio and end up in television. You might think you really want to be a host, but you might be better suited as a super producer. You might have a love for the camera and find out that, wait a minute, I can get out in this control room. I'd rather switch cameras than actually be the one holding it. So, say yes to as many opportunities as you can to figure out where your niche is. And then the third thing I say is align with your purpose, meditate, pray, and figure out why it is that you want to do it. Is it because you just want to be on TV? You want to be fly? Do you want to make a difference though? Like, are you doing this because you want to humanize stories? Do you want to change what the landscape looks like for people of color in media? Like, what is your true mission? And once you get in tune with your intention, things just start to align themselves to push you forward. It's like they say in The Alchemist, the whole universe conspires to help you. So once you know what you want the universe to help you do, those things will kind of come together.
Yeah, I need my tambourine. You just gave a word.
That was amazing. And I wanted to talk to you, and maybe you could speak to this as well as Aisha, just about freelancing. Did you ever have to freelance? And what advice would you tell someone looking to freelance and how to make money and pay their bills?
Man, I did freelance. My path was kind of unique. Okay, I'm trying to keep my answers short. All right, so boom, I'll give one example. So I tried to find ways to create a job for myself at different spaces, because I wrote some pieces for the Sun-Times that actually Kathy Chaney edited when she was at the Sun-Times, but I'm not a writer first. I'm a broadcast journalist first. So I'm like, okay, I can't really freelance and, write these articles. What can I do? So I started hosting galas, hosting events. But the way I got my hosting chops up was I was hosting the Artist Lounge Chicago, which was a poetry set, live poetry set at the Southside Community Arts Center. So hosting that set just made me even more comfortable on stage. I've been on stages all my life, but that really cemented me as a host. So then I started putting myself out there, sending out my EPK for hosting and galas and stuff like that. So that's one way to freelance. You're a broadcast journalist, get those checks hosting galas, even in COVID, do stuff like this on Zoom. And if people aren't doing Zoom events, you can pitch them Zoom events, teach them how to put it together, use your skills, call your editor homies and put together a whole package and say, this is how you do this. Then the second thing I did was I started my consulting company, just building podcasts for organizations. Like one of the ones I'm proud of is I built the Culture, Race, and Equity podcast for the Chicago Urban League. So that was kind of a freelance gig, but it was like across several months. And that really helped to supplement my income when I was just working part-time at WGN. And so, just creating ideas and finding companies that you see have a need and, seeing if you can insert yourself in there.
And Aisha, you have experience doing this too as well, right?
Yes, I do. And I wanted to talk specifically about getting paid because as you mentioned, Dometi, we have to keep a roof over our heads. So
send out my EPK for hosting gallery.
Oh, pardon me?
No, go ahead.
Okay, right. So basically, a lot of people have had questions about how do they get paid when they're freelancing, because there's been some incidents where publications have not, they've elected not to pay people or they've gone out of business and people have not, they're out like not $100 or as much as like thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars. So my advice would be, first, when you are pitching or being asked to write a piece, be upfront about your rate, get clear on it. And if your rate happens to be higher than what the outlet is willing to offer, see if you can find a happy medium if you think the opportunity is worth it. So if you think that, and I am speaking from the perspective of a writer. So if writing this piece will add to your clips, or you believe that you need, or you're just starting out, then see if you can find a happy medium without like selling yourself too short. Now, once you get the assignment, I think it's important to know the people who write the checks. So that's usually people in the accounting department, or even maybe the assistant editor who may happen, whoever manages like the contracts as well. Get to know those people, because if ever your check is late, they are the ones that could just make sure that you get paid. Call them up, or when you talk to them, be a little friendly, not too fake, but just ask about, the family, just get to know them a little bit. Keep, hey, how the kids doing? Yeah. Okay, yeah, where's my money? No,
Right.
Where's my money? Yeah, yeah, but it was supposed to come 2 weeks ago. Oh, okay, but can you? Oh, you can? All right. Thank you. Just build a rapport with them so that they can remember you. Send them an email, that sort of thing. That has worked for me in the past. So when other people were not getting their money, I knew who to call to make sure I got paid, and I would put the guilties on them to make sure I received my check.
That is such a good point.
Honestly, that really worked for me. That has worked for me in the years I've been freelancing. Also, I would say, now look, if your money is not there, again, from Chicago, not falling into any stereotypes. So don't want to, threaten anyone, but be calm and be patient and respectful. Keep it professional, but stay on their asses about getting your money. Just sending emails, keep track of everything, stay on top of them to make sure that you get paid. And if you need to go another route, that's what,
what's the other route?
Calling your cousin.
Yeah, like you slipped that in the other route. Are you showing up at houses?
No, seriously, no. The other route would be legal action. Talking to either NABJ or another organization.
Nice save.
What did you say?
I said nice save, because I thought you were talking about something else.
We do not condone violence here. No. However, we do want to make sure that you get paid. And so you have to stay on top of people. And sometimes calling them out, like this is something that you have to judge on your own. Some people found calling someone out on social media, on Twitter or whatever, has worked for them. Now you may be met with retaliation, but they also owe you money. As long as you are professional, they owe you. That's your money. They owe you that money.
Can I add one piece to that?
Yes, please do. Yes.
Real quick. I think what you touched on about knowing different people within departments, I think that has been key to the original question of like, even outside of salary negotiation, how I was able to navigate. I made a lot of friends in multiple departments at the company I'm at now. So like, even before True Life was greenlit as a pilot, I was in correspondence with the VP of development, just saying, hey, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. Me and Rachel Tung built a relationship, and she reached out to me and I maintained it, and I went to see her in LA, and this is before I got these jobs, like the full-time job. And so down the line, those things help. And so, you know, when the renegotiation time comes up and you've been talking to this guy, an accountant, and this guy, you got multiple people at the table who are vouching for you and speaking well on your name when you're not even in the room. And so sometimes I think that we can be so myopic in our roles that we forget that we do have to be a little political in how we navigate corporate structures so that we can have people, you know, vying for us and it's not just us. So that helps with negotiations too.
I also like to add in this key point, because I did some freelancing too. Learn about your taxes.
Yes.
Independent contractor, LLC, figure out how you're gonna pay back these taxes, because if you receive a check for $400, like, oh, it's a 1099, you will have to pay back those taxes, and Uncle Sam is not your friend. So make sure you have all your ducats together, because that's important for both your current career and also your finances when you do make those next steps.
I agree. And I want to add to that, try to do it quarterly. You know, if you try to manage it, depending on how often you freelance and how much money you are making, especially if that is, you know, your sole income, try to, you know, manage it, whether quarterly or, you know, twice a year or whatever, so that you're not met with a surprise, you know, when April 15th comes around. And
we want to end on a fun note. You know, we just got through Valentine's Day. Any tips about dating during COVID? This will be like the end. I'll go with you. Go with you first, Lee. We'll leave our guest to wrap it up.
Well, I'll say that you just have to focus on what's important to you and be intentional, and making sure I'm being really quick. I've never seen Dometi and Aldous Hodge in the same place. Y'all know, have y'all seen One Night in Miami? Have y'all seen The Invisible Man? Those two brothers have never been in the same place at the same time. So
I'm in tears right now.
So when Hawkman comes out, I need to know where you are, because you may be a DC star.
I can't confirm or deny these allegations. I refer you to my publicist.
Because I see you working at the gym. So hey, we just that's to Aisha, but I'm watching you. But that's
oh gosh, what was the question again?
Dating and COVID. You know, it's Valentine's month.
I worked on Valentine's. It was snowing. I was afraid to go out. I did not go out on Valentine's Day. I'm still owed a Valentine's Day celebration. The end. That's what I did. But I will say my parents had the same birthday. And so there was an attempt. We took my mom out for her birthday. That was the day before Valentine's. But I say an attempt because a lot happened that day, where I was, you know, trying to get stuff wrapped up for work. You know, our former president, they decided not to, my mind just went blank.
It's wind down Wednesday. That's all right. It's all right. You didn't even answer my question. Dometi, Valentine's Day.
Is that, no, I worked on Valentine's Day. It was freezing cold. My car was covered up, and I had to do a makeup day.
Oh man. See, mine was miserable too. I was in
miserable, Dometi. I didn't say miserable. I just said, you know, it was me and my cat in the house while I was working, and it was freezing outside.
Let's bring up the cat. It sounds even worse.
Yeah, that didn't help. That didn't help at all.
I had a fantastic time. So my Valentine's Day was great. Gifts, great meals from a local Black-owned restaurant. So I had a great time. So
we went to dinner. So it was good. I can't wait for COVID to get over so we can do normal things, and you know. So
yeah. I was just on the road, and I sent a gift, you know, to somebody I got a little crush on, you know. But I was on the road for shooting. I should have this announcement pretty soon. Hopefully, you know, I can slip you guys a note when I'm able to talk about it. But I should have a very good announcement coming up very soon about what I was shooting over the summer. But yeah, man. I mean, over the winter. But yeah, man. It was. I didn't even have a cat with me, man. Just a laptop, some notes, and some producers and cameras, man.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I just want to say I'm very honored to meet you virtually. I am proud of you from afar. I've been watching your work. You do such an excellent job, and you represent this community well. You represent Black men in journalism well. So keep doing your thing. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man. That means a lot from you. I see your work. It's funny to be able to talk to you like this, but I see you on TV back when I was living at the crib, and I'm just like, damn, when is gonna be my shot? And so it inspired me. You, Brandon Pope, man, and Lee, man, you've been a friend to the family. Aisha, I haven't had a chance to meet you, but just right now, I'm like, I might have to take those flowers back and take you on a date because you deserve better.
Well, thank you so much. You were our first guest. This is our second episode. We'll see you back soon. Wind down Wednesday. Have a good rest of your evening, everyone. Take care.
Thank you so much, Dometi, a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you, guys. Love you guys, man. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.